So far, most of Joe Biden's top priorities are putting America at a severe disadvantage, from canceling the Keystone Pipeline, causing the loss of 70,000 jobs in one day, to a suspension of new drilling permits on federal land. It's not just costing us jobs either, but it will drive up the cost of oil, not to mention blowing a hole in our nation's fragile position of energy independence.
The jobs are thousands of jobs. There's Michael's, there's Precision Pipeline that would have affected that the pipeline was going to be constructed. There's hundreds of guys that got laid off.
Well, that's a general manager in Wisconsin for the Keystone Pipeline. Hundreds of his guys already out of work. With the stroke of Joe Biden's pen, he destroys the American worker. And now, as gas prices rise, the money we save falls. With increased oil prices will come an increase in the cost of goods and services, just what we need during a pandemic, right? Especially groceries, by the way. Joe Biden's short-sighted and even reckless policies are aimed at appeasing the radical left with no regard for the average American and its cost on all of us. But take a look at what his policies will do for the big-time corporate Democrat donor. Guys like Warren Buffett. He continues to donate hundreds of thousands of dollars to Democrat campaigns and causes. With the Keystone Pipeline killed, guess who stands to benefit? Old Warren Buffett and his prized BNSF railway. It moves the most crude oil in the nation, and I would ask any environmentalist to explain to me how it is better to use freight trains pulling oil than an underground pipeline. The answer, of course, is it's not. But Joe Biden doesn't care about the environment. He cares about guys like Warren Buffett. So Joe Biden announced the U.S. will also rejoin the Paris Climate Agreement. But the European Union's own research agency found it will cost the United States gross domestic product to fall by 3.4%, and unemployment could decline in the United States by 2% due to the losses in the energy sector that we just talked about. But lo and behold, the agency found plenty of other countries that will benefit from the Paris Accords. First and foremost, being China, driven by increased investment into transforming their electricity supply sectors, and all while the country does nothing to reduce its carbon dioxide emissions. In fact, those emissions in both China and India continue to grow, providing plenty of fodder for me to use when explaining how bad the agreement is for the United States. While we suffer, China profits. That's Beijing Biden at work. And if you want to talk about putting America at a disadvantage, an even dangerous position, just look at Joe Biden's immigration plans. He is halting border wall construction. He put a 100-day pause on deportations, even for dangerous criminals who are to be sent back to their home country. So what happened? Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, a Republican, of course, is suing the Biden administration for violating the Constitution and an agreement between Texas and the Department of Homeland Security. When illegals are set free instead of removed from the United States, Texas, and most other states, by the way, face huge increase in costs. Education, health care, and then there's the cost of crime. And what does Joe Biden do? He openly welcomes more border crossers.
They're moving resources to the border to process immigration, to process asylum claims. I think in a COVID-like environment, that's very dangerous. Again, the department was on a path to return individuals within about 2 hours of them coming over the border.
Well, Chad Wolf knows all this firsthand. So my question is Joe Biden oblivious to the fact that the Mexican cartels control nearly every pathway to the United States? Of course he's not oblivious to it. His concern, though, is not about that. It's about pandering to Hispanics through promises of amnesty and, of course, free stuff. It's about increasing his potential pool of voters. But the reality is, the more illegals he lets into America, the more violent criminals will be mixed in with them, leaving America in a very dangerous and precarious position.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.